Orville. Orville.
There we go.
Let's do our vocal warm-ups. Dick jokes.
Me. Nope.
I want to be a Star Trek.
Hey, there we go. That worked out.
Oh.
All right.
Dick. Oh, hey.
There he is.
Doing our vocal warm-ups. Waiting for you.
Yeah, we're ready to do our vocal warm-ups. Frank, this probably won't take longer than 20 minutes, so we won't keep it long. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's,
Don't
45-minute episode. There's only so much to talk about, right? So yeah.
Don't worry about it.
But we're not live, so if you have to just bounce, go ahead and bounce. Because I edit these up and I put like movie clips in and shit so that people understand what we're talking about. So it's no big deal if you have to bounce. All right. Okay.
No problem, Jean-Luc.
Engage.
Make it.
Me.
Ladies and gentlemen, salt and pepper. Mr. Worf, Warp 7. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders of the Lost Flicks Live. I am your host, Adam from RaidersOfTheLostFlicks.com. Remember, if it's a bad movie, we want to know about it, and we're talking about episode 104 of The Orville, If the Stars Should Appear. And I want to welcome Frank Links to the episode for the first time. Not the first time I've worked with him. He's from LIW Studios podcasts. We've done many episodes of Twilight Zone and some Tales from the Crypt and some bullshit anthology show.
Phoenix literally has a flow chart of the number of shows you and I have done together.
And the scary part is he has a flow chart of everybody's attendance, like what time they got there and how late they were. I'm fucking bullshit.
No, it's just me. It's just me. He doesn't do that.
It's almost that organized. But Frank, thank you for stopping by. And since this is the first time that you've been here, what are your initial thoughts of this episode? Actually, let me set it up real quick. The gang encounters a ship in outer space. They find out that the ship is a biodome, basically floating in space. And
I'm Phoenix West.
Oh, yeah, Phoenix West from LIW Studios, if we want to go that route. This is my show, not your show, damn it. We have different layouts here, so everybody knows who the fuck you are. No, I'm just kidding. But, so there's a biodome in space, and they go on to the ship, and they encounter some people, and the people obviously don't realize that they're on a spaceship. And what they encounter is two groups of people, a secret group of people that believe that there is life past the planet that they're on. And I shouldn't say planet, the ship that they're on. They don't believe that they're on a spaceship, and anybody that does believe that they're on a spaceship is considered a heretic. Classic.
Kicked to death.
Oh my god, brutally kicked to death.
That was brutal.
So, since you're new to the show, Frank, why don't you go first? Initial thoughts of this episode, sir.
Loved it. I mean, you got Halo in the beginning.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Halo vibe. Yeah.
And I also like, I just learned how I don't want to get too deep in this. I just learned how civilization kind of started, right? How the individual wasn't ever a thing until like just 2,000 years ago in our long history of being a species. So this is kind of like an allegory of how like pretty much people who don't know a damn humans want to know answers to shit, right? And they also want to like take advantage of people for some odd reason. I don't know why. And they love power too, right? So
they also like to explain things. I noticed that. Like they like to make up their own explanations and then just relentlessly follow that explanation that they come up with.
Yeah, it's called the God of the Gaps. You know, if you don't know the
God of the Gaps.
If you don't know the answer to it, it must be a deity that you can't see, but he's there because it obviously exists, right? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I don't really remember like any deity mentioned in this episode.
It was a name. They kept saying this name.
Okay. I probably should have put that in my notes, and I didn't.
Really?
It was the name of Liam Neeson at the end.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Liam Neeson makes a cameo.
There's entire society for 3 centuries basically worshiping Liam Neeson.
They had Liam Neeson for exactly 5 minutes before his terrible Taken spinoffs that he's been doing for the last 20 years, and They managed to stick him in front of a green screen and get 5 minutes of screen time. But you know what? It was cool.
Dude, he,
Yeah.
he fought a bear in the Arctic. I think he deserves cameos now.
Well,
A bear?
I mean,
Whatever he did out in the,
Wolves?
I didn't watch it.
it's a good thing that you said that, Frank, because if you didn't, he would find you and he would kill you.
Fuck
He has
yeah,
a
he
particular
would.
set of skills. At least so I
He's
heard.
like 67 years old. He's like your shit if he finds you.
Turned 67 before he became an action hero. Fucking Liam Neeson.
He kills 12 guys in a train car somehow by himself with his bare hands, and they have guns.
Phoenix West, initial thoughts.
I liked it. It was missing Pauly Shore, but I did like
Biodome. I was
Biodome
thinking that too.
And the key, no way.
We always talk about the sense of humor in this episode, and this one it fails miserably at the beginning with a number of things where they start doing the sounds like a dick. It's like explain dick, and then they send them some computer thing, and I'm like okay, and then they have the whole thing with those two guys that I always talk about. They're the comic relief characters. And they sit there and they're like, I'd rather mapping stars is so boring. I'd rather sit have dinner with my mom, and it keeps going escalating.
Yeah. And like it pissed me off because I'm like, mapping stars is fucking interesting. What are you talking about?
That's
Did
kind
you
of the
guys
point.
ever play Mass Effect? That game, Mass Effect?
No.
Some of the shit that you scan in that game is some of the funnest shit. It's the joke is that Mass Effect 2 is more Star Trek than any Star Trek game that's ever come out, because before you land on the planet, you approach the planet, you scan the planet for resources, you map things. It's some of the funnest shit, and then you land and fight the aliens. So
Didn't Mass Effect 2 have Europa in it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to play a Star
the
Trek
reason I played it.
game, and it was like walk over there, click on that character, that sort of those games. And
Yeah, like Age of Empires style.
no, not like that.
No, Age of Empires, that's like real-time strategy. I think what he's talking about is like point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah,
Like,
it was literally go heal
problem
that
solving.
guy.
Oh, okay.
Get out of this room.
Gotcha.
Click on
Yeah,
the
whereas like Age of Empires. is
Those
like
can be fun
control.
too. Yeah.
Yes, but getting back to this, I did like the episode. Adam, I complained a couple episodes back how the Alara episode was too early. This is the episode that should have came before that.
I agree. Yeah, I think we got more character development from Lara this time than that one. Yeah.
Because it had everything I said. She fails at her mission. She gets shot a couple times by the gang that roams this land, the security officers. She gets shot. She's down. She's, she quote failed. It wasn't her fault, but she failed. And
I cared more about her in this episode than I did in the one where she was left in command. Yeah.
yes, and Bortis takes over the bridge and has to go deal with something. That's
says
literally exactly
nothing.
what I said should have came before that one.
And he's really good, apparently, as a bridge commander.
Yeah.
Like he you could see him at some point. He's going to have his own ship. Like he takes his job very seriously, and he's fucking great at it.
He's the show's Worf.
He is. He's
Dude,
100%
it's Worf 100%. Like it's like look, you're channeling Worf. Okay, you just don't have a sash of metal yet.
I'm
would.
telling you, I'm
Ponytail.
calling it now. It's at some point if Star Trek should ever get a second chance and start over again, I see Peter Macon as playing some kind of a Klingon in a Star Trek.
They're gonna give him his own ship. He's gonna be middle of war. He's like, listen,
They were supposed to give Worf
take
his own
over
ship
the
a long
ship.
time ago, and
I
they
gotta
should have
go
fucking
sit
done
on my
it.
egg.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Worf-driven
He sat
Star
on
Trek
an egg.
episode.
He sat on an egg.
He did. I wish we'd have had you on that episode where he was sitting on a fucking egg. Yeah.
It was a big walnut up his ass.
And we thought we were saying that maybe that part of the plot should have been pushed farther down than this one. This episode should have been number 2.
Yes.
See, Seth, but you gotta remember, it's Seth MacFarlane. I mean, this is like you cannot take any of this fucking serious.
Well, that's part of the problem, though. Is it's Seth MacFarlane, so there's this lofty expectation that because Seth MacFarlane is in a Star Trek inspired type TV show, that he has to be doing his Seth MacFarlane thing. And my initial thoughts is in this episode is I enjoy the story. I like the aspect of the biodome. As a kid, I used to dream about what it would be like if I walked outside and looked up and it was the ceiling of a spaceship. And it looked in my mind, a lot like what happened in this episode. I thought the cinematography was great. There was some pretty good outdoor footage that they kind of spliced in with some CGI, and I liked the way it looked. It was a good looking episode. But my biggest problem with this episode is I'm invested in the story. The humor distracts from it to the point where it starts making me irritated. Like, will you just stop with the jokes already and get back to the story at hand? Because I'm invested in the story, and the humor feels like a distraction. Yeah, there
I
you go.
agree with you to an extent, but see, it's Seth McFarlane, so it's going to be humorous no
But that's the
matter
thing,
what.
and it's
Yeah,
like
so
the
it's like
show.
you
I
got-
just
as
if it
as
wants
long
to
as
be
you
Star Trek,
expect
just
it,
commit.
you know,
Yeah.
like as long as you expect the humor in there, I would look at this show like two shows into one, and that's what he's apparently doing, and he's doing a good job of it. I think of the balance. He's got the comedy, but he's got the seriousness and the drama too, which, let's face it, he's not really used to doing. You know, I mean,
It
obviously the Cleveland show maybe kind of gave him that.
it kind of feels like he really wants to
It's a
do
balance.
next generation era Star Trek, but it's like he's imprisoned by the fact that he's done so much comedy over
Yeah,
the
well,
years that everybody just expects that. Yeah.
I feel like it's just two shows in one. It's like even I want to call him Borat every time. But what's his name?
Sasha Baron Cohen.
No, the guy in the show where Worf.
Oh,
Um,
Bortis, Bortis. Yeah, same thing.
Boris. Yeah, it's like he's not Russian. Okay, uh,
Bortis.
Bortis. Okay,
He's a Mocklin.
yep, yep.
Mock Klingon.
He's a Mocklin from planet Mocklin.
What did we come up with last week? Klingkants? Isn't that what we came up? Kling ain't.
I forget. Yeah.
I mean, like and it's very hard to not put him in the gay camp. Like, it's very
Well,
difficult.
that's the thing I like about it too.
But
If you're
that's
if you're
what I
going to go
like
down that
about-
avenue, it's exploring these two relationship without having to stand on top of a hill and say, "Oh, look at this thing that we're doing." You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's two people. They call each other mates, and you don't
Partners.
think anything of it. You know, and
partners.
yet somehow they have the same problems that anybody else would. You know,
Yeah.
and some of their interactions I find kind of entertaining. You know,
Yeah, I live it.
and plus it's
Dude.
two actors that we love anyway. So I mean,
Look,
yeah,
half the time I don't sleep in bed because I don't feel like fighting with her.
yeah.
Why in bed? Why always in
In
bed?
this one
Can we
apparently,
wait till tomorrow. Can this
Clyden
wait till tomorrow?
just sits around and waits for Bortis to get off work, and of course Bortis is very committed to his job, and they're constantly arguing about. In this episode, they start off they're arguing. You know, when are you going to be home? I don't get enough time. At one point, he goes over and he eats chocolate ice cream because he says, "I want depression food."
See, that's the kind of humor that works for me in the show.
That
It
was
shouldn't
good,
Be,
yeah.
Shouldn't be dick jokes because it doesn't work. It doesn't
Well-
mesh well with the show. So when we get the how would this science work with comedy, it works.
Right. What I'm saying is it also is the first 5 episodes, so he's got to find his footing because this is not Seth MacFarlane's, bread and butter. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but it's to be
So-
expected of any show though that if you want to maintain longevity, you have high expectations that you have to deliver on.
Yeah, but you need a show to breathe, and you need a show to create itself.
like Game of Thrones.
If you just gave it a season,
People tell me, "Oh, I just watched 4
you just
seasons; it'll
gave
get
it-
better."
if you just gave it a season, you would get past all the medieval bullshit, and it doesn't even register anymore. Trust me, I got deep into it, and then season 7 happened, and I was like, "The fuck happened?"
Not happening.
I'm telling you right now, the end of season 6 of Game of Thrones was the greatest TV show I've ever seen.
I would find my time better spent watching paint dry.
Fair enough.
Season 5 of Paint
I'm
Dry
not gonna-
is
I'm
It
not
gets
gonna
pretty lit
beat
at season
the-
5 during paint dry, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna beat it down your throat to
Oh, yeah.
watch
But
it.
it's
My opinion.
just it's I mentioned this a lot. I come from an era where pilots had to sell a show, and now it's just pilot is literally just the first episode of a show, and people are just their brains are trained to just consume and not question, and I have a
Well,
problem with that.
I also think there is there are so many writers today that it's impossible to narrow down the good ones to give them a new show to do.
Well,
So
I think this particular script is very entertaining because it's the ethical dilemma of who's right, who's wrong, and like we mentioned earlier, one particular guy, Kelly, Commander Kelly, gets dragged into town, and she's taken before one of those bullshit ass where you're pretty much guilty before you walk into the room type deals. She's taken to the leader more or less, and the leader's standing outside, and he's got a he's got a bunch of people standing out on the steps, and he's talking about heresy and all this other kind of stuff. And they literally just he says, "Okay, and now I pass this person on for you to sentence to judgment," and the crowd is literally just kicking this guy to death, just beating the living shit out of him. And
well, no more than 200 years
curb
ago.
stomps, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, no more than 200 years ago, in the middle of London, there was this three pillar hanging thing where it was a thing like, hey, we're gonna execute the fucking prisoners today, woo, and it was like the entire city stopped and went to this. It's just brutal.
If you found out they were doing that down the block from you, would you peek out? Would you go down there? Or would you just be like, no, I'm good?
If you didn't, you'd be considered not part of the society and probably end up on it.
Were they taking a head count? Like you got to sign in when you go there?
They got like a little clicker.
5 short, go round them up.
It's the Brits, man. Either you fall in line or we're gonna hang you or cut your head off. Well, that back then.
The weird thing about this episode is they are modern enough to have like drivable vehicles that look like Jeep. I mean, obviously that's part of the budget of the show too, but they act like a medieval society where
with guns.
They have guns, yeah. And the idea of them having anything outside of our own existence is considered heresy. It's like they're frightened of it.
Well, and that was, I mean, that happened in Massachusetts 200 years ago. It's not that old of a concept for our species to do this.
But it is interesting. And also, speaking of beating the shit out of people, Kelly gets fucking destroyed in this episode. I mean, they
good
tie
on
her
her
up in a
too,
chair.
man. She kept her mouth shut too. Good
beat the living shit out of her, and she's making mama jokes. And
she still looked good doing it.
Friends joke that did not work at all.
No, Friends jokes never work though. They don't work in my world.
I've never heard a one work. I mean, I'm sure Phoenix could maybe pull one off if he really tried, but I doubt he'd want to.
I don't know enough about the show, but she does she's like, "Where are your friends?" She's like, "All right, I'll tell you. There's a coffee shop."
Oh my fucking Christ! I didn't even catch on to it. I didn't even catch on to that. Her friends were the friends from the show Friends.
And she said, "Don't." She said, "Don't kill the monkey. Don't hurt the monkey." And I'm like, I had to look that one up because I'm like, "There's a fucking monkey on Friends." I had no idea.
I watched Friends. I don't remember there being a monkey.
Apparently, Ross had a monkey. I had no idea. I don't care. But
it's like we said in the first review of Phoenix. It's Seth MacFarlane is damn pop culture jokes. It's like just
why would you know that reference? Everyone knows our references hundreds of years in the future.
Unless you watched Friends, which I'm sorry, not everybody watched Friends. I didn't fucking waste my time with that shit. I
grew up with it, and I grew up with women. So
I grew up with women too. They didn't watch Friends. They just weren't into it,
But
we're also like your generation, my generation missed each other by 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
We really did, dude.
It was a drastic change after the grunge era, but yeah.
Once Nirvana hit, that's when I became my generation, and then your generation was just ending.
Kelly gets the shit beat out of her. They finally find after Catan gets shot, they use kind of a cool procedure where they magically pull the bullets out of her and stitch her back up. And they did at least say that. What's that?
What sorcery is
What
that?
sorcery is that? Yeah, so at least they explain if she
Like,
wasn't
a
as strong
gun
as
isn't sorcery to him.
a normal human would have died hours ago, but she's obviously stronger. But the thing that I
She's
like about
so
this
ugly.
episode is that I disagree. They mentioned that
Ugly.
Yeah, I hate ears.
when I say character development, we realize that this character is not invincible. You know what I mean? Like she could have died. She gets shot like
Yeah.
right away too. So
Yeah, dude, she took she took 3 slugs to the heart. Like, literally, they made sure it was like, it wasn't dead
and
center, it was
I
right
think this is
there.
the first time in this series so far up to this point where we've even seen blood.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to show that either. So I appreciated that. I like seeing the Doctor doing Doctor things other than just doing comedic sketches with
lead.
Norm Macdonald, which unfortunately they did do that again.
The
Love
same
him. I love the
they're still
slime
doing
Norm.
that.
Dude, I love the slime Norm McDonald. It's hysterical. He cracks me up. Like, just because there has to be a slime Norm McDonald. Just
I
because
had
you
mentioned
can.
the only thing I like about the Norm Macdonald bit is the fact that it is Norm Macdonald and the fact that things stick to him like a gummy bear, like that rolled under a couch. There's always like stuff and dirt and shit on like when they do this close ups. I
Me and him would
appreciate
be
that.
like this, like I look at the Orville. I'm like, who would be my best friend on the ship? It'd be Slime Norm.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Would you have him show you his tentacle?
I think he would just do it.
He's like, "There's more. You like this? There's more." This is
Another
where that
night
came
with
from.
the toothpaste.
Yeah. Did that joke land for you?
No.
Okay.
I have no idea what that meant.
No, the only joke that kind of worked for me was when Seth McFarlane was talking to the family or the guy, and they give him the food, and he's like, "Do you have a network? Do you have a napkin?" And he does that, but then the follow up joke where he's like, "Where's your trash?"
Yeah.
That one worked.
I was getting flashbacks to Indiana Jones: The Temple of Doom when he first goes to that Indian village and is like, "You're insulting them.
Yeah,
You're embarrassing me."
yeah.
Eat it."
I went right to the Burbs when he ate the sardine on the on the pretzel. God. And then and then into a trash can. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
That's horrible stuff.
Yeah,
But,
and that's where that clip came from that I sent you.
so what we realize eventually is that these people have been on this ship floating in space. Like Liam Neeson was actually the captain of this ship when it was still a biodome. They lost control of their vehicle, but they had enough resources on board that they could sustain themselves for thousands of years. But they didn't have the propulsion was not working anymore. So the ship was just literally drifting in space.
Question.
And the descendants of the crew, over thousands of years, literally forgot where they came from.
Mm-hmm. They forgot they're on a ship.
Well,
They forgot they were on a
and
ship,
that is
which
a
was
human
awesome.
trope too, because human beings have inherent amnesia. We can only trace our history back like so far. It's disgusting, like how little we really know about
Is it amnesia though, or selective memories?
Well, it's not really amnesia. It's just what they
Selective
call it.
memories. Yeah.
Yeah, they call it inherent amnesia.
At one point, Kelly even says it's not all that hard to believe because we're even a little on Earth. We're even a little sketchy about our own past, which is not far from the truth. And we had mentioned that.
Yeah, like
something like this, you could bury it in the sand for millions of years, and somebody would dig it up and think this was a fighting weapon. We know it's a tool, but if you didn't have any references or books or anything to tell you that this is just a tool and not a weapon.
Or it's what they use to either bury someone or pray to a god with. Apparently,
his name is Baral, by the way.
His name was Borat, and they used to use this to remove their brains through their nose.
Oh God!
How do you know? So. How often are you reading a science magazine? You realize that maybe something that we initially thought. You're like, I hear all the time dinosaurs were a lot bigger than we initially thought they were. And had feathers. Yeah. You don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean that's why science never says anything definitive. It's always learning. It's always something new to learn. You know, like right now, I'm just going through the revisionist history of World War II and just how wrong it was that we were taught. I don't want to get into it, but it's pretty interesting how wrong we know it as what it was. Moving on. My point, like just the telephone game, 6 people and the whole fucking thing's fucked.
So to get to the crux of the episode, eventually they do find the control room, and what they do to prove to the people that doubt the existence of the outside world and the fact they're on a ship is they find a way. They find a sunroof essentially, and they open the dome to where they can actually see the stars out beyond the ceiling. This particular society doesn't even have night.
I have a few questions about this. A, it's like 3,000 years these guys have been floating towards a star. Right before, like they had to have known there was like shit going down because when like a ship of any kind becomes just adrift, it's like a domino effect of major problems, right? So right at the last minute, wouldn't you somehow make sure you don't eventually drift into a fucking star in space? Like, that should be pretty trivial by then.
Well, I
If
think the whole point of this was that when they were drifting, they didn't have any control, for one. Two, they've been drifting for thousands of years. There's no way to know where it's going to go and what's going to happen. Because the whole thing, the thing that's weird about this is obviously there's no prime directive in this particular universe of Space Show, okay, that's the space of Star
no,
Trek, because they go
not
right out of their
not
way to
yet.
say, hey, we're from another ship, you guys are on a ship, whether you believe it or not, and if you don't do something about it, you're going to crash into a star and explode and die. So,
Well, we finally did get a date of when this is taking place. I did like that because I had no idea when this was taking place, like how far in the future.
oh, I think the first episode it says like the
Did it?
year of something or other. Yeah, I don't remember. It just
I mean, I probably missed it, but like this episode, it was like, okay, so if she was that far ahead, they must be in 2600 ish, give or take.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, since it was like 300 or 400 years old or something like that. I don't know, and she came from like
Future stuff.
2930 or something like that. But it was interesting. The black hole wormhole, kiss my ass. There's no way you're going to, um, you just that it's impossible, right?
How
But
many Star Treks have you watched, Frank? Because wormholes are kind of a regular thing in the Star Trek universe.
I'm look, like I said, I'm really not a big Star Wars or Star Trek fan. But if I were to pick one to watch, I would pick the Next Generation. Watch one. I I know everybody's got to claim at least one, so I always claim myself a Trekkie, but not like hardcore Trekkie. You know what I mean? But I
But
like
you should watch it because after about four
I do.
seasons, Frank, it really gets
I
pretty
have
good.
watched it. No, I've watched a lot of them, dude. Growing up, trust me, my whole life I've watched them. Really, Next Generation and the original one, I've watched a lot of them, but not in succession. Because it was always cable. I mean, cable, you have no idea what the hell order this shit is in, Like this show, their uniforms are sort of kind of different. Then the next show they're
I like the
kind of
uniforms.
different
I think they're
again.
pretty
And
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and I can always tell like what sort of season they are from Worf's, metal sash that he's got going on.
Or his really bad bob haircut. That's the one that gets to me. Is he has a bob for a while, and then eventually
Yep.
they let him grow a ponytail. Phoenix, what did do we want to go to scores on this one, or do we got more to talk
I
about?
want to read the script of this episode because I want to see the script after he wrote it and edited it with a pen, because I guarantee it was Prime Directive. Oh, shit, we can't use that.
Yeah.
Shit.
We can't do this because the Prime Directive. This violates all the Prime Directive shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like the script was all about the Prime Directive and how he's like, oh yeah, we can't do that, can we?
One of the things I liked about that show, Enterprise, is it was dealing with a Star Trek ship pre-Prime Directive, and it was kind of showing you the reasons why the Prime Directive even exists. They did a pretty good job setting that up. So
I've never seen that show. I started watching the pilot and I stopped halfway.
it gets better. It's not nearly as rough of a watch as some of the other Star Trek shows. Like it's some of it is a slog, but some of it's really good. Like, you know, especially when Jeffrey Combs shows up. Whenever Jeffrey Combs shows up in any Star Trek, it's great. So
I'm gonna give this score wise. What's the math on that workout? 4. It's good. It's very Star Trek.
A 4 out of 5, or okay,
yeah, 4 out of 5. I do scores out of 5. So
cheese curds equals provolone.
mm-hmm.
Are cheese curds provolone?
This is my rating system, Frank. Don't question it.
Just don't question it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just go with it.
Obey the cheese god.
It's different. All right. It's
Fair
fun.
enough.
It's different. 4 out of 5
No,
is provolone.
I've had cheese curds in the past for the first time in my life last year, and they were amazing. Amazing.
No, okay, you're still going. We good? All right. Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5. Just it didn't blow me away. It's not as good as the last episode that we watched, but I did enjoy it. I'm wondering if they're going to go back to this planet. I don't want any spoilers or anything, but I'm just curious if they're going to go back and find out how it changed once they figured out the truth, if they even told them the truth. Yeah, I'm looking forward to future episodes. It's definitely continuing to get better.
Since the season 3 hasn't come out yet, I can't tell you if they go back to this planet or not. One can only say. I know that this is like a fan favorite, though. A lot of people really like this episode. It's I believe. Let me see what it is on IMDb real quick.
8.4.
8.4. Okay, you beat me to it. So 8.4 on IMDb. One of the better episodes.
Oh,
I agree that this one should have been episode 2 because had they showed this as the second episode, it wouldn't have messed up any of the prior stories, other than maybe the Norm Macdonald nurse dilemma. Other than that, which they could have easily worked that out of there. But
Norm is down with the brown.
I think there's a lot of.
Sorry, I was just gonna say it was the same exact conversation we got. It almost would work better before that other one because she seemed more fed up that time, and this time she's just
this time we actually see Bortis in command. I liked the little bit where Lamar actually pulls off a stunt and he kind of jumps up and does this little victory dance, and Bortis is like, Lieutenant Lamar, and he says sorry. He sits down and he says good job. So he at least acknowledges that he did a good thing. But he's not going to let him carry on and act like an idiot on the fucking bridge. So he when he's in charge, it's all business. So I like that about him. He's got a warrior spirit. So, and also it was nice to see McFarlane like not really in control of what's going on. I actually was wondering if he was going to be a little bit more aggressive to the guy that was beating the shit out of Commander Kelly, because I mean obviously he does. Even though they're separated, he does at least still have some feelings for her. I mean, seeing your ex-wife get beat almost fucking nearly to death would have a little bit more of effect. And he's just kind of like, okay, dick, or something like that. And they just kind of...
He's complimenting you.
I was waiting for him to just walk up and slug him, because that's probably what I would have fucking done. But I'm not...
I would have given him a high five.
Yeah, I'm not it. Maybe that's what maybe that was the real point. So... At least they didn't use that to make another joke. Frank, what would you score this 1 out of 5?
I'd definitely give it a 4 out of 5. Definitely. I enjoyed it a lot. I really did. I mean, there's a few of these I wish I really made it with you guys because, a few of them were kind of slow, but, you're going to get that.
We still got 2 seasons. No worries.
No, exactly. I'm in no hurry. I mean, you need setup episodes, and that's fine. I just really like the whole... I mean, that ship was fucking massive. It was so cool.
It reminded me, there was a Doctor Who episode where they did a very similar thing. They were inside of a biodome, and there were people inside the biodome that didn't understand that they were inside of a biodome. So that came out before Orville. They might have been written at the same time. Maybe there was a script floating around Hollywood or something that somebody got their hands on. But I do like the concept of people living on a ship and not knowing they're on one. It's kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it's just like the whole Plato thing where if you get people who, since they were born, they're sitting against a wall, right? And there's a fire behind them and there's a walkway. And all they see is shadows walk in front of them on a wall that the fire casts the shadows of the people walking behind them. They don't know people are walking behind them. They don't know what fire is. They just know that these shadow people walk in front of them all the time, forever. So if that's all that you know, that's all your reference frame is, then how would you know anything else exists? And this is exactly what that is.
I wonder what flat earthers think of this episode. That's all I want to know. Yeah, to echo everybody else, I do agree. 4 out of 5. It's not a 5 out of 5 because, like I said, my biggest problem was I thought that a lot of the jokes kind of distracted from the plot to the point I'm like, come on, move on past it. Especially after 3 episodes now where we've seen how distracting the jokes can be. It's okay to have the humor as transitional stuff, but when you're just dragging it out for the sake of the joke, at least make sure it lands or make sure that it's worth it or funny. Like I said, I've seen the entire 2 seasons ahead of time, and I know that it does get better than this, but I like the story. This very much feels like a Star Trek type story, and it's good, entertaining science fiction. I like the whole concept and everything. So yeah, 4 to 5, provolone.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, I really do see this show as 2 different shows into one. Like he's got the serious show going, and then he's got the comedy, and he's trying to find a balance right now, and
at times they
not
clash.
landing.
Yeah, they
Oh,
clash
exactly.
against each other. Yeah, that's
But
my only issue is that I mean we all like humor, we all
and
like science fiction. Sometimes they don't always gel well together.
no, and if you say it gets better, and towards the
Oh yeah.
moving on, I'm going to guess it's
Oh
because
yeah,
he
you're
learned
you
to
guys are
balance.
in store for some serious shit. It's gonna
Yeah.
get really fucking crazy.
Charlie's is in the next episode.
That's right.
Charlize Theron.
I already know how that plays out because I saw the Red Letter Media thing about it. So
Oops.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Oops.
Gave the whole thing away.
Wait, my girl is going to be the next one?
No, Charlize Theron is going to be in it.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, not your girl. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the ugly bitch with the ears?
No. That girl's dating Zac Efron, believe it or not.
Charlize Theron?
No, the Alara.
Oh, Laura. Yeah, that's
Who the hell is Zac Efron?
Oh shit! I gotta look up her name again real quick.
Halston Sage.
Halston Sage. That's it. It's a cool name. I like her name a lot.
Yeah. But yeah. So next week, Charlize.
Yes, I am a huge Charlize Theron fan.
Yeah.
I own a lot of movies that she in. Absolutely, 100% fucking loved her character in Mad Max Fury Road. I was all excited that they were going to do a Furiosa spin-off, and then I found out it was Anna Taylor-Joy, and I'm like, oh.
Eon Flux is my favorite movie that she was ever in, and that movie is hot garbage.
Yeah, but it still has Charlize Theron in it. Yeah.
What's
Devil's
that?
Advocate's good. Wasn't she
Devil's
also
Advocate.
a tiny kill, or am I getting her mixed up with Ashley Judd? No, it's Ashley Judd. Yeah.
Anyway,
So.
Yeah, like the episode. Looking forward to the next episode, and so on.
Any final words before we put a bow on this and go off to the sweet by and by?
At the other side of my cigarette like a fucking asshole.
At least you didn't break it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I broke like 3 that.
I like this side of you, Frank. You're a lot more animated during the day than you are at night. At night, you're like running on low sugar or something. I don't know. It's like sometimes you're there and sometimes you're just not in the room. Huh.
No, it's because I've been up for 3 days.
Okay, fair enough. But you're pretty. You seem rested today, so yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of sleep last night. Or not last night. No, was it last night?
Cool.
No, I worked last night. That's why. Yeah. And I just got home and I finally just finished this 12 string I've been working on for 4 days. It's a nightmare, but it's finally done now.
Frank, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and what to watch?
Oh, you can come over to Vineland, New Jersey, and we can watch whatever you want. I got
No.
you
Your
mean
your
podcast?
website and
Oh,
yeah,
okay. All right.
where do they find you on the internet, Frank?
Oh, I got you. RedDragonsRadio.com, LIWstudios.com. I do a lot of podcasts over there on LIW Studios, and really happy to do that with Phoenix and
Not anymore.
Adam. And what?
Huh?
Did you say not
Oh, is
anymore?
it my turn? LIWstudios.com, LIW the TZ review on Twitter, Phoenix West on Twitter, yada yada yada, and you'll see everything at LIWstudios.com.
For sure.
And,
Anyways, we'll
Red
see you in the
Dragons
next episode.
Red-
Red Dragons Radio and
That's all I was going to say after that. RedDragonsRadio.com.
Pornhub.com.
If you can find it, good luck.
And make sure you check us out on Fridays where we do the Bad Movie Watch and Review at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Raiders Lost Flicks YouTube channel. Peace out, everyone.